Jeff and Jennifer met at the Arizona State Fair in 1989. Jennifer was there with her friend Mary, and Jeff was there with his friend Kevin and his girlfriend. They just happened to meet in front of the same crazy ride at the same time. They all decided to jump in a photo booth and get their pictures taken. Jeff, Jennifer, and Mary all crammed into the same one together. After bugging the attendant for pen and scissors, they all exchanged their pictures and their phone numbers. A couple days later, Jennifer got a call from Jeff asking her out to the movies. That was their first date. They also stopped at TCBY. They sat there talking for a long time over frozen yogurt. On their dates, Jeff did all the driving because Jennifer didn't have her driver's license. He drove from his house to her house, back to his house, back to her house, and back to his house. It was just a lot of driving. They had a special place that was right in the middle of the city, but it had all kinds of trees and tunnels and just places to walk around that were pretty cool. They didn't realize how much they both loved trees. They would just go to walk around quite often. Throughout this time, they would break up and get back together, break up and get back together. You get it. It's just one of those things that happens when you start dating young. Jeff enlisted in the Navy. It was only for a short time that he was in boot camp, though. He wrote to Jennifer all the time, and she still has the letters. Jennifer graduated high school still thinking of Jeff and missing their time together. Meanwhile, Jeff was dancing and in a relationship or two. Jennifer was moving across the country and in a relationship herself. Quite a bit of time passed. Jennifer sent cards. They used their pagers, and they just never forgot each other. With all the moving that they both did and the relationships they both had, who knew what would happen when they decided to go to Zoo Lights one winter night to hang out? After returning from her trip to Arizona, Jennifer packed up all her belongings and moved from Florida back to Arizona. They found themselves going on a trip to Disneyland. They both enjoyed spending so much time together. Jennifer spent so much time with Jeff that he would sometimes drive her to work. On one of these drives, Jeff brought up the subject of them getting married. And they got married about 2 weeks later. It wasn't anything fancy, but it was simple, just like they wanted it. Their rings made of precious metals were exchanged. After they were married, Jennifer worked at a pharmacy for a while, and then she moved on to High Health. Jeff worked all sorts of jobs, electrical for someone else, and then working his own electrical and welding business. A few years passed, and then there was a baby. Ryan was born. After a couple years, another baby came along. Kyle was born on Christmas Eve, which was his due date. When Kyle was just a baby, they moved to Payson and enjoyed a real winter. They knew they weren't meant to be in the desert. In between Jeff commuting to Phoenix for his business and Jennifer pregnant and driving to Phoenix for doctor visits, it just made sense to move back to the valley. It wasn't long after they moved back to the valley that Lauren was born. Now they were a family of 5. Before they knew it, all 3 of the kids were in school. Life was going pretty fast. As time went on, they would keep talking about moving away from Phoenix to somewhere that had more of the things that they were looking for. They packed up what they could fit in the RV, grabbed the 3 cats and 2 dogs, and started their move across the country to North Carolina. After a crazy, crazy trip that nobody will ever be able to forget, they did it. They moved out of the desert and made it to North Carolina.